What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be going through my round 16 AFL tips and predictions. Before we get into it, I'll explain the elephant in the room. Obviously I'm in a different setup as you can see. I'm still in Sydney, but I'll be back tomorrow. In fact, when this video is uploaded, I'll be on the plane to Melbourne. So from this video onwards, I'll be back to my regular setup, so regular video streams, so nothing really to worry about. And also, thought I'd point it out there, the goal is 20,000 subscribers by July, anytime in July. So we're almost at 19K. Let's maybe get there by the end of the month. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now is your call to action to do that right now. So go and subscribe to the channel. That would mean a heap. But let's get right into the tips. And it was probably my worst ever round of tipping to date, like ever. In the last 2-3 years, it was just shambolic, really. So in the first game, Brisbane v Melbourne, I thought the Lions would get it done. I just didn't trust the D's as of late. Their form slump really worried me, but no, they proved why they are the premiership favourites. The next game, the Bulldogs taking on the Hawks. I did tip the Hawks in the upset. Dogs kicked 13 goals in a row after the Hawks were up by 26 and really made me look silly. And then again, another game, Essendon v West Coast. All three games so far, the team that I tipped were in front at quarter time. The same with the Bombers. They started well, but the Eagles took their chances, got their second win of the season. Great stuff for the Eagles. Again, for Carlton Freo, I tipped the Dockers. They started with the lead in the first quarter and they lost. Carlton got the job done. And in one of the games of the round, I tipped the Tigers beat the Cats. It could have gone either way, this one. But the Tigers, that start probably ultimately cost them. And this is just knowing my luck. Like the one game I wanted to get wrong all round was the Sydney Swans v Saints game, and that was, funnily enough, the only game as of this point that I got right. Like, it just couldn't have been any worse for me, but at least I got the tip right. If I would have tipped the Saints, geez, it could have been even worse. Tipping against North is a free tip these days. They just can't get the job done. I tipped the Giants. They were outclassed significantly, although because of Coleman's inaccuracy, they actually ended up kicking more goals, the Giants, can you believe it? And then put out 11 Gold Coast. What a game that was. Again, it really could have gone either way, this one, but luckily I got the tip right. So 3 out of 9. Yeah, honestly, probably in the bottom 5% out of everyone in the tipping. Like literally all the 50-50 games I got wrong and all the upsets I got wrong. It was just an atrocious round of footy for myself. So yeah, reviewing the big calls, I started really great. I got 2 in the first 3 games, both of me on the Friday night. I successfully predicted the Hawks to be up by 24 or more points at any stage of the game, and then I got the next one right with Stringer and Wright combining for 7 or more goals, but then it was a huge fall from grace. Didn't get a single one correct after that, which was disappointing. Whereas we compare it with Shannon, he's tipping, I think he got 6 out of 9, so he did tip the favourites, but I mean, rightly so, the favourites were impressive. And then he also got 4 out of 9 in the big calls, albeit they weren't really big calls. But look, you know what? At the end of the day, Shannon did better than me. So congratulations, Shannon. So we'll quickly go and see which comments got the most likes. The first most liked comment was from Encrypted Donkey with 127. Another Evo stream. I've got to play Evo on Legend mode with 20-minute quarters. If I lose, I have to restart the same stream. Okay, that sounds difficult. The Racing Brothers with 64 likes. Your next footy game, you attend, randomly play the Wiggle song and dance to it. That's going to be funny. And Zay Bennell, whenever the Saints lose next, you must sing the opposition team song in public whilst wearing Saints gear. All right, we've chucked them into a wheel. Let's spin them. Evo with 3, Wiggles with 2, Saints colours with 1, and we land on the Wiggles. You know what? I'm going to 3 games of footy this weekend with Nick Valerio, so yeah, I should get this punishment out for you guys next week. So yes, keep a lookout for that. It's going to be embarrassing, but you know what? It'll be funny, won't it? It'll be funny. That'll be the punishment for the week, and I'll also have a couple other ones coming up that I'll be filming this current week as well. All right, well, with all that out and done with, let's get right into round 16, and we've got another big round of footy, that is for sure. Well, each round is an important round from here on in, really, in the season. The first game, we've got the Lions taking on the Dogs at the Gabba. The Lions were quite disappointing on the weekend on Thursday night after a chance to stake their claim as the premiership favourites. Didn't really get the chance to watch a lot of this game, but I mean, after a good start to the Lions, it was a complete domination for the Ds. I think they had 37 scoring shots, so it could have even been worse for them. The Dogs, well, after a slow start for themselves, they were extremely impressive to bounce back into the contest after the first quarter, back to their best footy. I mean, they kicked 13 goals in a row. They were just way too dominant. But yeah, the Dogs, they're sort of finding their form back. They're finding their stride, but it's still going to be a bit tough because of their run home, and this is no exception. The Lions are one of the toughest sides to beat at the Gabba. And you'd think after a really poor performance from the Lions, they'd be hungry for a response. So I would probably expect a big response from the Lions. I still think the Dogs are capable of maybe causing a scare and upset. They did do it in the final, let's not forget, last year. But I think the two sides are a little bit different. I still think, though, this will be a good game of footy. I expect a high-scoring affair, but I think the Lions are just the safe tip here, and I'm not going to go for too many upsets this round after last week. So the Lions for me by 18 points, and my big call, in any quarter, there are 11 or more goals combined. The next game we have on the Friday night, and this is between the Blues and my beloved Saints. And look, if we were going to preview this game a couple of weeks ago, I would have been much more excited because I just had a lot more optimism and hope. It would have been touted as a potential game to shape the top four, but now it only really has any impact for the Blues' sakes. I mean, the Saints are still mathematically possible, but with the way we've been playing, I just don't see anything happening. Of course, the Saints, they continue to disappoint. How have they managed to play worse than they did against the Bombers on the weekend? Like, I can't believe I went to Sydney all to watch that garbage. We only kicked 4 goals, and 2 of them being in the first 3 quarters. We played with no heart, no inspiration. We just cannot seem to kick a score whatsoever. And on the flip side, you've got the Blues, they seem to be back to their best, playing outstanding footy. They obliterated the Dockers, really. Even in the first quarter, they just weren't able to capitalise. And they look like a genuine chance to maybe even find that top 4 spot. Like, you never know. They're an ominous threat, that's for sure. It's hard. Like, I would have tipped the Saints even last week, but they don't deserve my tip. Like, I don't want to sit here and be all hopeful for the Saints, this and that. No, screw that shit. Like, the Blues, they should win this game, and if they really mean business, they've won every game at Marvel this year, they probably should win this well, because I don't expect a fight back. Well, I sort of hope we fight back, but I don't know what's going to happen. Carlton to win this game pretty comfortably by 26 points. Lost the faith in the club at the moment, and my big call, the Saints score 4 or less goals by halftime. And we've had our attention towards the first of the Saturday games between Essendon and Sydney. This game I'll be attending, might vlog it potentially, we'll see. And after such a promising display last week against the Saints, the Bombers, they sort of go back to their old ways. They would bottle an extremely winnable game against the Eagles, the side that many thought would finish dead last and now seem to be definitely out of that bottom position. And on the other hand, the Swans, well, they just had more willpower to get the job done. They knew it was on the line. They play the Bloods culture the way they do phenomenally, and they were just way too convincing. They came out to play, where the Saints, they didn't. And they blew us out of the water big time. I don't know why, but I feel like, usually these two sides play off in thrillers, and at the G, there's something that tells me the Bombers might not maybe cause an upset, but really fight in this game and be a potential threat. I am going to hope, obviously I'll be at the game, that it's a close one, and I actually have a feeling the Bombers put up a big fight here. So my tip's going to still be the Swans by 10 in a close one, but my big call will be the Bombers lead at half time. I'm just sensing something about the Bombers here, that they'll show a bit of spirit in this game. The next game of footy we have is between the Crows and the Demons at the Adelaide Oval, and after a serious form slump over the past month, the D's proved why they're still the premiership favourites with a really, really convincing victory against the Lions. Adelaide also obliterated their opponent, albeit though it was against North, and literally everyone can beat North. Like, anyone and everyone can beat North Melbourne. Even the Saints, if we played like the way we did against the Swans, probably still would have beaten North. Obviously in the same fixture last year, an upset did occur. The Crows were able to find a way, but I just don't sense it happening. The D's are just sort of finding their form now, hitting their peak at the moment. And, I think they should be too good. I know without Gawn and a couple of other players out, but still Demons have almost a full strength lineup. They should get a pretty comfortable win here. I don't see any chance of an Adelaide upset. My tip will be Melbourne by 32 points. My big call, Clayton Oliver has 40 or more disposals. And now the next game, we've got Geelong taking on North Melbourne at GMHBA Stadium. Oh my goodness, this game could get very, very ugly. The Cats, they're tracking on very, very nicely. They're just continuing to get win after win. And these wins are very important because the game against the Tigers was definitely a 50-50. They could have easily lost that game, but now they sit second on the ladder. They look in a very prime position for that top 4 spot and probably even that top 2 spot. They held on the Cats after a very fast finishing Tigers outfit in one of the games of the year, honestly. Like Jack Henry, what a finish that was. Whereas North, well, they just continue to retreat and get worse. I mean, now they hold a record for the most consecutive 40-plus point losses in a row in the AFL era, which is, I think, 10 games in a row. And yeah, it almost seems quintessential that it'll occur again in this fixture. I mean, this could really get ugly. It could turn into a bloodbath. You never know the Cats if they want to play and turn it on. And I'm that bloody confident that the Cats win this game, that if North win, I'll do an overnight stream in my bloody pool. I'm that bloody confident. So the tip for me, I mean, I don't think the Cats will sort of obliterate. We haven't really seen that happen at all, really, other than the Lions against the Roos. But I still feel like the Cats will get a very comfortable win. I think the Cats by 80. No question, I don't see that North really improving. They're in a shambles right now. And my big call, well, North Melbourne, they failed to score more than 7 goals in this whole game. Next game of the round, I think this is going to be game of the round, honestly. I mean, these two sides are arguably the two most informed sides of the comp. Well, very much up there, that's for sure. The Suns taking on the Pies at Metricon, and I'll be streaming this game with a few other people as well. So expect, yeah, a really good game of footy, that's for sure. After other results occurring, the Pies now propel themselves into the 8 and are set to continue their 5-game winning streak. Like, they are in some serious form, but they were almost their own enemy in that game. I watched the last 6-7 minutes. The Giants were they were just playing shocking footy. Pies were up by 35, and then they let the Giants back into the game. They were only lost the game by 11 points and actually ended up kicking more goals than the Pies. Well, the Suns were extremely impressive and just, you can't not be impressed by what the Suns are doing right now. I know they didn't get the win, and honestly, if it wasn't for that first term, they probably would have won the game, but they were just up for the contest all game. They never said die, they never gave up, they never dropped their heads, they just kept coming, kept pushing the power, and they just fell short. You could argue that they probably should have got a free kick late in the game. Suns might have been robbed. I probably wouldn't have said that they were robbed, but regardless, it was such a good game of footy by both sides in that one. And as I said earlier, these are probably two of the best form teams in the competition at the moment. Could go either way. It's a 50-50 game, this one, but I just feel like Metricon, the Suns at Metricon, are a very good side right now, and I just think that'll be just enough. They'll just do enough to get over the line, the Suns, and they probably need this win a little bit more than the Pies right now for finals. It's still possible. They should do enough, the Suns, to get it done here in what is set to be an absolute classic. So I'll go the Suns to win this game by 6 points with my big call that there will be 10 or more lead changes in this game. Another game that I'll be going to as well for the round will be between Richmond and West Coast at the MCG. Again, I could either vlog this one or the Essendon Sydney one. Let me know in the comments which one you'd prefer. The Tigers, well, they couldn't really have done much more after their poor start against Geelong, obviously, other than winning. But yeah, they'd be disappointed, and you could argue again, maybe the Tigers were robbed on the other hand with a lot of umpiring calls not going their way. But I didn't really get to watch a lot of the game, so I don't have much of a take on that. I only watched the last 5 minutes. And well, for the Eagles, well, plays back for them. They are set to be on the improve in the last couple of weeks. They took it up to the Cats all game. They were very admirable in that game, and against the Bombers, they actually got a win. Like, the Eagles, I don't know if they're back, but they're playing better footy, and that's what we like to see, particularly if you're an Eagles fan. Obviously, in the same fixture early in the year, the Tigers obliterated them. This was at Optus, but I don't think the Eagles are going to allow that to happen. I don't think they're going to get completely blown out of the water again. Yeah, I don't think they'll get obliterated. I think the Eagles are definitely playing with more heart. They definitely have some sort of spirit in them at the moment. The Tigers, though, at the MCG, it's pretty much a no-brainer to go. The Tigers are playing really good footy. They haven't really dropped off since that win against the Eagles early in the season. So, yeah, my tip's Richmond to win it by 49. I don't think it'll be too big of a smashing. And my big call here, Richmond don't score above 100. The next game we have here on the Sunday, we've got the Giants taking on the Hawks at Giants Stadium. Both teams had poor losses on the weekend after strong starts, particularly the Hawks. They were up by 26 points early on. They looked like they were going to get me a really nice tip correct, but they fell away significantly, and that drop-off is going to, cost them a lot of games of footy because their gap between their best and the worst is up there with the biggest, probably behind, I'd have to say, the Saints, honestly, but they're conceding, 13 goals in a row? Like, that was poor. I've got to give a shout out though, Mitch Lewis. 4 goals. Honestly, if he wasn't injured, he could be up there for the Coleman. The Giants, they were smashed in the contest against the Pies, but that scoreboard for sure flattens them, only an 11-point margin. It should have been probably 50 or more points, honestly. Like, there was a decent start for the Giants. In the next 3 quarters, honestly, it was just complete obliteration. And then they kicked 4 of the final goals in the end, and they kicked 7 goals in the last quarter, just like the Hawks. So, strong finish, decent start, shocking middle of the game, just like the Hawks. I feel like this could be one of the closest games of the round. 2 sides in very even positions in the ladder. Honestly, could go either way. And I sort of do want to stop backing the Giants here. I mean, I feel like I've just been backing them in over the last few weeks, but they've constantly disappointed. Like, they've been so average this year. I just can't really see them doing anything this season at all. But the only reason why I think I lean into them in this scenario is because, one, the Hawks aren't going much better, and two, that the Hawks haven't actually won at Giants Stadium at all. So the form suggests the GWS win, and I think they win it here. I'm going to go the Giants in this one in the safer tip, I would feel like, but it's definitely a game that could go either way. But I'll go the Giants in this one by 14 points. My big call, Toby Green, after a poor game last week, will kick 5 or more goals. And the last game of the round, we've got the Dockers taking on the Power at Optus Stadium. The Dockers, well, they disappointed on the weekend after many thought they'd get the job done against the Blues. But now they're back at Optus and, playing in very clear conditions. They should bounce back, you would expect. And in one of the games of the year, the Power held on a gritty Gold Coast Suns outfit by 2 points. The Power were good, but so were the Suns. It was a very good game of footy, honestly, and the Power just keep their faint, slight hopes and finals alive. The season's not done with just yet, and if they can, for whatever reason, scalp a victory here, you never know. I mean, Lockie Jones, he was impressive winning the Rising Star nomination. Amon, also super impressive. I think he had 10 tackles and 10 marks. And there is upset potential here, honestly. Like, recent form, I'm pretty sure the Dockers, they don't play well against the Power, even at Optus. I know it's different this year. The Freo Dockers have been great, and Port haven't really been that good, especially early in the season. But I don't think I'll be brave enough to tip an upset here. I mean, look at last week. I went the upsets and got none of them right. So the Dockers should win this game, and I'll go the Dockers in a close-ish game by 12 points. My big call that Todd Marshall kicks 3 or more goals, but he doesn't score it behind. So an interesting big call to finish off the round. We'll go through the tips, and I tipped the Lions, the Blues. I hope I'm wrong on that one, though. The Swans, the D's, the Cats, obviously, the Suns, the Tigers, the Giants, and the Dockers. So majority of the home teams, honestly, aside from 2, I did tip here. I fell 71 spots, and honestly, I'm surprised I didn't drop more spots because it was just a completely shambolic round. I now fall a 630th, which is terrible. We'll go through all the people that got a perfect score of 9 out of 9. How do you do it? Like, I tipped 3. These guys got 9. The Real Zipsy, Blues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, PKM 77, J Sports, Riser. Mate, he hasn't uploaded a footy tipping video in 8 weeks. He should be uploading again if he's getting 9 out of 9. Mitch Ryan, he's back in contention. Jacko 12309 and Boyle sends Smelly Asian, Fish and Crips Jap, and Tyler MCC, all with perfect scores. And we'll have a look at the overall leaders for the tipping comp, and we've got Dino Marino, who I don't know if he was leading last week, but he's in front with 116. Nick Dacos official also on 116, and Rowan Marshall's son, Dockers Army Lion Bowler, not far behind them on 114. And I'll quickly read out those who are on 113 points. We've got Dresario fan, Winsome Dollars, Frastar, Jake Felipe, and this guy, who should have a username because he's been tipping very well up to this point, deserves a shout out. I won't set a like goal because there's probably no need, and we didn't hit the last one, so because of that, I'll stop the like goals. But again, like, because that'll be great. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave your tips down below. I didn't go biased. Like, I could have just gone here and said, oh, the Saints will respond and get a win, but I'll be realistic. I can't see it happening, and I'm going to be honest, honestly, from now till the end of the season for the Saints. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching the video. We're back to a normal setup soon, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Cheers.